and then the landfill cost. And again, that environment-friendly thing, if you can show that you can just till it under, that's better.
The idea behind biodegradable plastic is that it's chewed up into bits by soil bacteria when it's tilled in. NEAR says they don't expect it will degrade completely, but it should be enough that it doesn't hinder planting or other field operations in the spring. Learn more about biodegradable plastic mulch at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the Country Life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com.
Today's Daily Encouragement by William the Encourager, sponsored by Ted Russell Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty on Kingston Pike.
Praise the Lord, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to Tuesday. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord. It's Tuesday, Lord God. Thank you. Thank you, Lord God, for another day. Thank you, Lord God, for everything that you give us. Thank you for watching over us last night. Your guardian angels watching over us and protecting us in our sleep, protecting our families, our children. So, Father, we just want to say thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. Thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And remember, today is Tuesday, and we're talking about fear. We're talking about fear. So we need to know, you need to know that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And remember, you can choose what you believe. You know, you do it all the time. We make choices every day. When you get up out of the bed, you have a choice. You can lay there, you can get up, you can go brush your teeth. You can do what it is that you need to do, or you can lay down. You have choices. Thank God he has given us choices. So you choose what you believe. You choose the thoughts that runs through your head. I know some things, just some random thoughts sometimes just run through there, but you choose what you believe. Just because it run through your head doesn't mean you have to believe it. And remember, fear is a liar. Fear is a liar. Remember, fear has two meanings. You can forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. The choice is yours. I don't know about you, but I choose not to run, but I choose to rise to the occasion. Because Psalms 23:4 says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. What an assuring thought. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death every day because we don't know what tomorrow holds. When we go out and do whatever it is we do, we are walking on borrowed time because God is an awesome God. And he can do all things. So remember, Deuteronomy 31:6, it says, be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you nor forsake you. My friends, we have such great promises, and the Lord will fulfill what he said he would do. He said, I never leave you nor forsake you. He wants us to learn how to conquer fears with faith. Remember the little girl that someone asked her, what would you do if Satan knocked on the door? What would you do? The little girl said, I'd ask Jesus to answer the door. That was the great answer. What would you do when the enemy knocks on the door? Will you run or will you run to Christ? We have to learn how to conquer our fears, friends, because fear is of the enemy. You see, fear can paralyze you. Yes, it can. As a Christian, we don't need to fear because we know God is in control. God is on the throne, meaning nothing else is. Not a diagnosis, unmet expectations, uncertain future. He alone has all the power and authority. So just remember, friends, when the enemy comes knocking on your door, let Jesus answer the door. And remember, there's a way out of your mess, and it's JESUS.
Where can you buy a brand new Nissan with a lifetime warranty? Kingston Pike. Hey, folks, Gerald Anderson with Ted Russell Nissan. You heard it right. Every new Ted Russell Nissan comes with a lifetime warranty, and that's a long, long time. Ted Russell Nissan on Kingston Pike.
Good morning and welcome to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Ask Your Neighbor can also be heard and seen on our website, WYSHradio.com. And if you are in Anderson, Rome, or Morgan County and have Comcast cable, you can watch Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV Channel 12. Ask Your Neighbor is the program where you call in and do just that. Ask Your Neighbor. Do you have a comment? Do you have a problem? Or do you have a question? Then call in and ask your neighbor. 865-457-1380 or toll free at 877-711-4005. And for those of you that might be listening or watching on the internet, you can email from our website, WYSHradio.com. Just click on the Contact Us button and email your questions. Now sit back and listen as listeners throughout East Tennessee and the entire world answer your questions on Ask Your Neighbor on BBB TV 12 and AM 1380 WYSH.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Ask Your Neighbor on WYSH. And as I told you here the last number of days, our county mayor, Terry Frank, has made time to come in and say hello. Good morning, Mayor Frank. How are you,
Good morning,
ma'am?
Ron. Fine. How are you today?
Good. Thank you for coming in. And
Absolutely.
I know you have to be gone quick, so we're going to move.
Do a speed round today?
Yeah, we're going to try and move quickly. I just want to start off here. One of the things that in your tenure here lately that has been getting a lot of attention, animal shelter, animal control, dog park. Let's just talk a little bit about our Anderson County animal control. And I know you've faced some scrutiny over that, people questioning the way that it's run, stuff like that. But
Right.
do you just want to address how we get our animal control under your purview, what we're doing to fix any problems we might have, and then talk about the new facility that's coming, if you don't care.
Sure. Well, the Animal Control Department, in the whole scheme of things, is not a very old organization. So it goes back to, I can't even remember, Ron. I'd have to pull out the old notebook. I think 2006, maybe.
Okay.
Basically, animals at large is just a big issue for the county. It's a big issue everywhere. And I think we're kind of seeing a reversion in pet overpopulation back when my mom and aunt were running the Humane Society and Noah's Ark, and then all of that. The emphasis was on spay, neuter, spay, neuter, spay, neuter.
Sure.
And we kind of have that message, and maybe we've wrestled with how to get the message out, because back in the day, I can remember, my mom and aunt paying for ads in the newspaper and having the pictures of how quickly a cat breeds. But there was a debate at commission, and then the organization was set up with just one animal control officer.
Okay.
And just fast forward a little bit, eventually there became two animal control officers. The county had long contracted with the city of Oak Ridge for the place where animals were taken, and the one of the detectives with the city appeared at an operations meeting one night and said, basically they had their hands full with all of their animals. They had a disease outbreak. They wanted to do more control of what animals were coming in, and they notified us that they would no longer take the animals. So from that standpoint, then we put into motion kind of an emergency action. I reached out to Ron Woody, who was the Roane County executive at that time. On a temporary basis, they started being the recipient of our animals that were at large, making it very difficult on our citizens
Sure.
to go down and check Roane County. A lot of burden on them in terms of trying to do adoptions and, keep their euthanasia rates down. So we put in place what was to be a temporary shelter at the recycle center, and that was just a monetary decision. The commission appropriated $25,000. That was kind of a small facility with the help of the inmates and some donations from the community of different equipment. And since then, there have been multiple attempts to do a shelter. I initially tried to do one at the Blockhouse Valley extra property, and that was voted down by commission. And so from there, then I went to the city of Clinton thinking, okay, we're taking their animals as well. Maybe there's opportunity for partnership. And the city of Clinton made available about approximately 5 acres of land for a low-cost lease. We tried to get some funding, basically without a legitimate commitment to build. It was very difficult to get any grants. Yeah. And so that's why we then ended up with the USDA route, because it's 40-year possibility, gives you the ability to get off the ground. There's no prepayment penalty, so you get up and running. You help the community see, what's happening. Then you can start generating donations and pay down that note. Very low.
Is it USDA grant or is it a loan?
It's a loan.
Okay, a loan.
It's a loan.
40-year loan. Okay.
And so it's low cost. When we finally close, so you have, once it's locked in, when you go to close, you get the lowest rate. So for instance, when we first signed that document, and I can't remember that number, Ron, it's like, I want to say it's 365, okay, but I'll have to look that back up. Let's say the rates go up, we're always locked in to the low rate.
365.
Yes.
That's good.
And then let's say all of a sudden, the rates drop to 1%. We get the benefit. The way the USDA works is you'll never get higher than when you signed. But if it lowers, then they will give you the benefit of the lower rate.
Okay.
So, and then you're able to do it without having to come up with additional revenue. We're able to already work that into our government budget, so it doesn't mean a tax increase or anything like that.
It's workable inside of the current budget. Yeah.
So currently, we had hoped that we were going to go to bid on, or put it out, publish the RFP on September 8th and 9th with an opening on September 30th, but we hit another snag with needing to do a second update to our stormwater plan. So we have submitted, the engineer has submitted a second revision to TDEC. So we're waiting to hear back on that. And so as soon as we do that, we're just waiting for that so that we can hit the publish button. Catherine would do the pre-bid meeting. We have a mandatory pre-bid after it's posted a few days, and then it stays out there for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from there, you'll take the bids, pick the lowest or the best one.
Yes.
And then
yes. Yes.
How long do you think of a process from now until, say, you open the doors to it?
If it's a year-long project.
Okay.
But I mean, it's not a super complicated building. Probably, one of the considerable cost of it is going to be the actual site work. So if you look where the dog park is, the city of Clinton's dog park, and that was one of the things we also hit a snag with too. It's like with USDA and the federal government, there's always something new with federal requirements. And so we were already approved and had signed some paperwork, and then some attorneys with USDA were like, you can't have a 40-year lease. You've got to own it. So then that, caused another issue, and I had to work with the city of Clinton. Well, would you be willing to sell it? Because originally their intent was you have it 40 years. We can do a renewal, but it's still going to maintain. We're still going to keep our property. The city agreed they would do that, and then they set the sales price at $70,000. And then I had to go back to commission, and commission supported that, and we purchased the land.
Okay.
It's one of the the length of it's just the bureaucratic system with using federal dollars. And Dr. Parrott started out Claxton Elementary with USDA, and he was like, we got to get a school built. We can't wait through this process. So then we went, that's why we're doing the whole bond process.
Gotcha.
So
it's a longer process, but if you can wait it out, it's a more feasibly responsible process.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. In one of the recent meetings, there seemed to be, I don't know, back and forth between you and commission about forming a committee or forming a board for animal control. What's the advantages to that or the disadvantages to that? Why are you for it or why are you against it? I know that you had made a motion or made a suggestion that wait until the next mayor, whether it be you or whether it be someone else, is seated to decide if they want that department ran by committee or board, or if they want to continue it under the purview of the mayor.
Right.
Since next year is the election. And I don't know how commission stood on that, if they were okay with that or what. But explain that to folks there.
Sure. I think that's so that'll come back in 30 days. I mean, I think it's been very politicized. So, I mentioned that there was a statement made that this wasn't political, and this is a proposal that's doesn't have a political component. But I showed where the individual, or I referenced where the individual who made that statement is, in a post with political attire on, with a comment about changing the world, or I don't want to misquote, but it was something about, or be mischievous. It's still up in the air. And Ron, it's like even last night there was a question asked by one of the folks about the feline leukemia testing. I mean, can we have a conversation? I don't, and the other thing is like, so you're wanting commission to be an intermediary when can there be a conversation? And so I don't know. I think the timing, I've said it, I believe it. I believe a lot of it is political, just in terms of what is desired.
Yeah, but don't you ever say, be careful what you guys ask for. This isn't as easy as you think.
Yes.
Here you go, committee. Take it and run with it, and let's make fun of you. You know what I mean? Have you ever thought of just washing your hands of it and say, y'all have fun?
Well, I mean, so at the end of the day, you do have the people who work for Anderson County government shouldn't be in a position of being a football.
Okay.
And, if someone doesn't like the sheriff, for instance, are we going to set up a committee and all of a sudden
micromanage the sheriff department?
Yes. And I mean, I have said, if you have an advisory board, and I've served on advisory boards. I served on an advisory board for Governor Lee and the nuclear task force.
Yes.
The governor had a representative from the legislature on there. He had one member of the House and he had a member of the Senate. And those were chosen, I believe, my understanding is they were chosen by the legislature, but it might have been chosen by him. But our job was study this, come up with some recommendations, put it in the form of a report that would be shared with the governor and the General Assembly. And it wasn't, it's not, let's set up this independent group to beat Governor Lee over the head. I mean, he's the executive, and if you want to advise, then advise. Here are some suggestions. But like if you look at this particular resolution, it's like if we have a complaint, the mayor's going to answer in 15 days, and if it's not a sufficient answer, then we're coming to commission. Well, I mean, commission is the legislative body, and we're all supposed to be working together, all of us. And I think it's just being framed as just combat, and I don't know that that's productive.
Okay.
So, I mean, a lot of remarks have been made about having experts available. Well, I can say my family and myself have been active animal welfare. There was a time when my family was animal control in Anderson County.
I know. And I've seen you work with folks across the aisle when you worked with Robin.
Yes, absolutely.
You and she and you were politically opposed on a lot of things, but you guys were able to come together for that particular issue with animal control and building them. So, I mean, I know that you've got quite a bit of experience when it comes to fooling with animals. So you just feel like that this is, for lack of a better word, you feel like it's just politics right now?
No, I mean, right now, yes, I do. And I do believe that there are a lot of people out there who, when they see, a charge or an allegation, and I'm going to give an example, like, for instance, the pictures of the shelter being down there at the recycle center. That's been no secret. I mean, that's where commission, there was no land.
Sure.
Let's put this here. Let's work on a facility. I used those very pictures in a grant application to PetSafe years ago. I mean, it's not been hidden, and that was put out to the community like, we're uncovering a secret. And I mean, at the end of the day, I can't write the check unless commission writes the check.
Sure.
Commission could have said, we're going to build a shelter, 3 years ago. And, but it's been, well, Mayor, how do you want to do this? I'm sensitive to the fact that there hasn't been 100% unanimity that we need a shelter. But I think in this day and age, we do. It's important to the community.
Sure.
Animal welfare is important to the community. It teaches compassion for people and animals. And so there is a level that is political. And but I also believe that there are people that are very sincere about wanting what is best and wanting the best policies and procedures. So I'm not... Is it 100% political? No.
Will the new shelter, this new facility, will it cover part of the complaints or part of the worries that some of the folks with the animal enthusiasts that they have?
Well, I think, the biggest challenge we continue to say is we have to have space. I mean, we're operating with just a few runs, and your day is basically a juggling process. And they do a great job of even facilitating, working animals or providing food so somebody can maybe hold on to the animal for a while longer, doing some of those things. You see, there is a trend in the shelter business. I mean, I follow a lot of them online.
Sure.
There is a trend that we don't have room, we can't take them. And I mean, just my own view of things is I think we need to be in a posture where if Ron Meredith finds a stray dog on the way home, he should be able to take it to the shelter, and there should be a place for it. That's what the tax dollars are going for.
Sure.
And it shouldn't be on you to house that animal at your home for a week or 2 weeks, or just say, okay, I'm going to leave. I'm going to let it go. I can't deal with this. And I think that's because of a lot of pressure on shelters to reduce euthanasia. And, it's easier for them to be screamed at by somebody. I mean, I'm just taking what I perceive as the emotions of the shelter workers. It's hard to put them down.
Sure.
They also don't want the blame if they do.
Sure.
And they would rather be yelled at by somebody saying, why can't you take it? I pay for, and you should be able to do this, and I'm being evicted, and I have no place. And they would rather take that beating than the
Put
other
animal down.
Yeah, and it's not a guarantee, but it is a risk. I mean,
Sure.
it is a saturated, I don't want to say market, but
it is.
But it is, yeah. I mean, we're seeing homes, sometimes they show up at a home with 12 animals.
Oh, Lord.
It's not just one tenant that moves off, and it's multiples.
Yeah.
And it's a hard job, but I think that the biggest challenge is having the breathing room. Right now, it's their shelter is just this. It's one big shed, and so there isn't a back of the house. You're on top of each other. There's not an office. There's not rooms to sit down and talk with someone or have visitation. The design has a surgery center, vet area in there, and Damon and I are already looking at. We reached out to the city of Oak Ridge about maybe this is, let's offer some of the volunteer organizations ways to partner with us.
That works.
And one of those is the city of Oak Ridge has a full-time veterinarian. Well, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But maybe there's a way where we say, okay, Rescue X, if you're willing to fund part of this, here's what we'll guarantee. We'll guarantee that every animal, that this vet is here every day for X number of hours.
So you partner with the private to help bring in maybe a vet, so public-private partnership. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. So we've got that RFP. Oak Ridge just went to RFP on that. I can't remember, a couple months ago. I mean, time flies, Ron. It could have been 3 months ago, but I did get with the city staff and got a copy of that. So, and then I have a copy of an MOU from another county that does something similar. And so I thought, well, we'll take that to commission and see, and kind of put a call out there and offer ways to partner instead of it just being a one-way. I think a lot of folks don't understand the limitations there are in that space. There's not a lot you can do there.
Sure, where we're currently at.
And it's an active recycling center.
Yes.
I mean, it is a recycling center.
Yeah. So this new facility should cover all the problems that we have going on, and hopefully, if you can do a public-private partnership with some of these places, provide services that we don't currently have.
Yeah. And we've got an education room planned in there, an activity room. I mean, it's designed where when we were taking tours of the different facilities, the design is based on we want the public here. And we don't want the image of a dark shelter. We want it to be a public space. We have envisioned people being on the grounds, walking.
Sure. Well, it's right there by the dog park.
Yes. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
The next subject, and I think that's about all people are going to be where they are on that, but are we tearing down the Claxton Park, yes or no?
I don't know.
That's TVA call?
Well, so, this is a long story, going back to, there's different, I guess there are different branches to the story, Ron, and there's different authorities. So you have a conservation board that is a statutory board put in place, and I would need to go back and verify this, but I think it was put in place by referendum. It might be the 911 board, but maybe both of them were put in place by referendum. There was a group of citizens, and I've been back and looked at the old park plan.
Sure.
That wanted to do more for the parks. But very much like the library board, they have the authority over those parks.
The conservation board.
The conservation board.
Okay.
You have county commission. If you go back to the history of the Kids Palace, the community built that park. The Optimist Club built it.
Sure.
Community partners.
Yeah.
And, there's not a lot of records on why they wanted to put it over in the hands of the county, other than maybe just liability, the operational costs,
When you
ongoing.
say they, do you mean TVA?
I mean the Optimist Club.
Okay.
So I think there was also a desire to have some grants. And there's an old document from Dale Isbell, who was the the budget director at the time. For instance, on that document, it says the Optimist Club at that time was not a charitable organization, I guess, under the proper, there's different forms of charitable.
It wasn't a 501c3?
I guess it wasn't eligible to get a direct grant.
Gotcha.
And so part of the county taking ownership was helping them get more funding.
So the Optimist Club could proceed to try and get grants using the county as a funding mechanism.
Yes. And there's like a record, for instance, of Spud Chandler coming to the board and Carl Scarborough coming to the board. And I think there was a desire to purchase the property. And I don't think that was something that TVA wanted to do. So essentially, the record I have, and I need to just build this whole thing and put it online, just so people can look at whatever records they want to. The county entered into an agreement, a 30-year easement, recreational easement with TVA for that property.
Okay.
And there are separate, and I don't know if it's one big easement or if there are two. There are separate agreements for the community center, which is the old church, and that's an agreement between the Optimist Club and TVA, and the ball fields. And so
is there a currently functioning Optimist Club?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
So you had a lot. So first of all, there's the Conservation Board started having discussions about Kids Palace and it being an older structure. What do they want to do? And I wasn't part of all of those meetings. I mean, on occasion, I visit them, or they might ask the mayor to appear, or if we're working on a grant or something, I'll go down.
Sure.
But I'm not at every conservation board and haven't been. You had the facility or the structure itself becoming aged. And a lot, they don't build those wooden forts like that anymore. Sure. I mean, but you had the facility being aged, and the park board started discussing, what do we want to do? But you also had, and I don't remember the year it was first discussed, Ron, but you also had the announcement of the closure of Bull Run Steam Plant.
Gotcha.
One of the very first things they did, they brought a lot of officials from the city of Oak Ridge, the Claxton commissioners, different folks. I want to say even non-Claxton commissioners were there, because I have a recollection of seeing other couple faces at that table. They brought us over to Bull Run Steam Plant, and they talked about the impending closure, what their plans were, and they had a concept design for amenities down by the river. So, where a lot of folks park to fish there by Bull Run, they were like, you know what, we're going to do this closure. Maybe this is an opportunity to do something new and improved.
Okay.
So there was already at that time, like, we know the community center's getting old. The church is getting old. We know the park's getting old. Maybe this is an opportunity to do something new.
Okay.
And I even have an email where, from where I was discussing with Louise McCowan back in, it was 2021, I think, maybe 20. So we had COVID, and during COVID, Bob Tonkin and Spud Chandler came to see me, and they were desperate for funds because nobody was having events because of COVID. I mean, everything's canceled.
Gotcha.
And they were out of money. And I said, well, let me see if we can work on an ARP grant. So there was this $25,000 ARP grant. We thought maybe, they would be eligible. I told them I'd help them fill out the paperwork. What we ended up finding out is it had to be spent by November. The expenditures did not relate to what they needed to use the money for. And so, I committed to them, well, I'll try to help you another way. There's some hurtful comments that have been going on around that. It's just, I don't care. And I don't have a passion for that. I never announced this and never intended to. But those two men left my office that day with a personal check from me so that they could keep the lights on for about 3 more months. Mm-hmm. And I said, let me see what I can do. I started reaching out to different agencies, and TVA has an employee fund. And I don't know if they got it from the employee fund, if they used some other fund, but TVA ended up getting them $2,000 so that they can stay, keep paying their bills and pay the utility bills to keep the light on. But at that meeting with Bob and Spud even mentioned, we talked about Bull Run, and he talked about, I would love to have a new facility, and maybe they could, so this is not something that is just about environmental, just about the conservation board. There's been this acknowledgement that these are aging structures, and is there opportunity to do something different?
Sure.
The conservation board voted that they no longer wanted to maintain, instead of replacing the structure at that site, that they no longer wanted to maintain it. And they asked the mayor to work with TVA and work on what needed to be done. So at that point, I don't know, how does this even work?
How did it morph into going from working with the county and the conservation board simply to get grants to making it all the county's responsibility to take care of it? It should be the Optimist Club. If all we're doing is a grant mechanism, and that's the only reason they combined with us, why in the world are we paying somebody to take care of the Optimist Club's problems?
Yeah, I don't know. And that
or product, you know what I mean?
Right.
They should.
Well, there's a question now.
I say, why pick up a sleeping baby if it's theirs?
There's a late hour question about that's now being asked about, well, who actually owns the equipment? And so, there's some comments that are made in some of the old documents that in order to accomplish what we want to accomplish, there's going to be a presentation or a look at the county taking over ownership. And that's in some of the documents. Mm-hmm. The county has been responsible for it and insuring it. And I don't see any kind of agreement that we're doing that on behalf of the Optimist Club. And at the end of, 30 years, it's going to revert. I mean, that documentation is missing.
Gotcha.
But I don't want to wrestle with people, Ron. I mean, it's getting really ugly when these have been very open discussions. There have been open discussions that have taken place at the commission level. My view, and I said this in meetings, I've said it in writing, why would you not want to relocate when you have an opportunity? And you have an opportunity for TVA to partner and say, you know what, if you do, you've got the closure of Bull Run, you've got Type 1 fusion coming in there, you have an opportunity to get additional funding and partnership. You have an opportunity for the community to get a new amenity. Mm-hmm. And provide input on what that new amenity is. Maybe it's not, no disrespect to the Kids Palace. I mean, I've got an email where I mention if the Conservation Board wants to do this, it would be good to do it in a way that honors the legacy of that particular site. I mean, maybe it's you take some of the pieces out and you put a beam in and name it for the folks, or maybe you name the park after Mr. Chandler. But, you also have, as one of the contributing factors, a public perception of, is there something wrong with that park? It's right next to a pile of coal ash that's buried. It's got coal ash underneath it. We had a study. The study in April of 22 that was released says there is no risk, but make sure that the geotech fabric never wears through. Make sure you put extra mulch on there so the coal ash doesn't come through. And there are people out there in our community that say, I'm never taking my kids there.
Yeah.
Why would you not just take advantage of that opportunity?
Well, I think we should, but I think where you're seeing pushback is people are hearing close the park without yet having a place to put a new one.
Yes.
I think if TVA said, here you go, here's 10 beautiful, level acres, you can have it to move your park to, I don't think you'd have any of the pushback, especially if it was all new.
Yeah.
But I think the $250,000 that have been set aside, or at least that TVA said they gave, nobody knows where that's going to go. I think if we identified a new place and had new plans and had, whether it be county funding mechanism, grant funding mechanism, or a combination of that and public, fundraising as well, I think people would be behind it. But I think the uncertainty of losing another asset in the Claxton South Clinton community is what's got folks frustrated. And the lack of information or misinformation that's out there too.
Yeah. So I don't know really how to accomplish it, Ron, other than just do a true community-wide survey. There have been some ideas that have mentioned for location, and those have been rebuffed or rejected, and even Lost Bottom Park. So that is in that particular district.
Couldn't we carve out a few acres at the current Claxton school before we sell that piece of property and just carve out enough that we could move over there? I mean, and then sell the rest of it?
Possibly.
We already own it. We're going to sell it. All we'd have to do is subdivide a piece of property out of it and allocate that toward the park. And we've already got it. I don't think there'd be a whole lot I don't know what all goes into,
Right.
But it seems like that would something we currently own. We're getting ready to upgrade. We're going to be shed of it. We're going to put it up for sale. Why not just carve out a little piece of it and hold on to it?
Well, maybe it's we could do a whole list of questions. I mean, maybe we could even have just a call in on your show one day if you're willing to donate some airtime.
Absolutely.
You look at a lot of the parks. I mean, I'm not, one of the things that's going to happen too in that particular area is you're going to have the widening of State Route 170, Edgemore Road. And, where do you want your park in terms of that? I go through Murfreesboro does a really good job with some of their parks, and I visited their soccer fields. Some of their they've got like a little dog park that has you can go out and do dog training. It's got all the obstacle course and stuff like that. A lot of those are tucked more away in quiet areas. I mean, you're not really thinking about, I want to go to the park and listen to traffic and everything, horns honking or noise. I mean, you're kind of wanting a little more serene experience to take the baby, take the kids, do your walk around the lap, do your laps as a senior. I think that's why if you look at, for instance, Songbird Trail, I mean, that place is rocking if you go up there. And it has all of those things. And I don't know, just as I'm talking with you right now, it hasn't occurred to me before, but maybe those are the questions that can help us narrow down what the location would be. What's the feel? What's the environment that you want for a park?
What's the urgency in this now? I mean, if I were in your position as the mayor, and again, my advice is worth what it's costing you, but I think I would just tell TVA, if you want us off, evict us. It's your lease. And then I would tell the Optimist Club, that's your park. What can we do to help? But I, under no means, would take. I don't know. It just seems like a pain in the neck that we don't need as a county. Let the Optimist Club take care of the Optimist Club. Let them negotiate with TVA, and then we can use the strength of the county, as you said, to get grants. Or maybe if they need some muscle with negotiating with TVA, we could step in. But as far as maintaining the park, as far as all of that, it would seem to me that would fall to those of us that raised money for it way back in the day to step up and. If you want to keep it and keep it maintained, then we need to, we just have to step up and do that. I don't know that it should be a county asset. It's not a county asset. It's TVA's land and it's the Optimist Club's equipment. So. So why not just opt out of taking care of it? Why not just say, you know what? I thought you wanted to use us as a grant-getting, mechanism. We're not doing that. Now all of a sudden we're cleaning the park and taking it apart.
So what you're talking about? So the county does have an easement. We are responsible.
We are. Okay. I assume that easement was to the Optimist Club to build their.
No, they have an easement on the baseball fields.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so
we have responsibility to TVA for that property.
Yes, and that's why I'm saying, like, I think the parks is saying they're not going to maintain it. It's end of life. It makes a good opportunity to relocate, which a lot of the same voices saying now, that's not ideal, or saying that back in 2023, 2024.
They were talking about moving it.
In an article in the Knoxville News Sentinel, there's Commissioner Wandell. There's a big picture of him saying it would be ideal.
I say this too. Why not take and let the folks there in the Claxton community put together their own board, whatever, advisory to say this is what Claxton wants done with their park, and then bring that to the conservation board, to TVA, to county, say this is what we'd like, and then let you guys just facilitate it as you can or curtail it as it needs to be, as opposed to, seems like taking the lead on it. It seems like the county taking the lead. Folks were fussing about the slide coming down. The slide was in disarray, needed to be repaired. I don't know. It just seems like that if it's not our problem, why make it our problem? If we can work with the community to get accomplished what they want to accomplish, they might not be able to buy new. They might not. They might have to just refurbish what they have. But
Ron, one of the things with the conservation board is whatever happens. You had a lot of. There is coal ash under there.
Sure.
And the conservation board is basically responsible. So they have to maintain, do all of these things that were recommended. And they don't want the liability. I understand that. And so I think the easement terminates December 1. If the Claxton Optimist Club wants to work with TVA they're already doing the ball fields, they're doing the community center. That's going to be between them and TVA.
True.
So I just think the county needs to get out of the liability of. It's an older structure. I would not advocate. Of course, it's all a commission decision if they want to go back and repeal that and in that agreement or rescind. I don't know how that works, but I would not be on that side. So it would be, if the Optimist Club wants it, here's the land, and
so you're saying
the county's out of the agreement.
That's what I was
the taxpayers are. The liability ends, and then the Optimist Club could, and I know Commissioner Wandell is the secretary of that organization, so he's definitely in a position.
The county could still, though, be a backstop, and you say, we could work with the Optimist Club, maybe help you draft grants or stuff like. We could still participate without having to take ownership or liability, couldn't we? I mean, like if you let's just, it seems to me you're saying, hey, if we're going to be responsible, we're going to look for a new place and we're going to build something new, shiny, bright with equipment that's not going to deteriorate.
Right.
So if the county's going to do it, this is what you would like to see: get off the fly ash, let the community find a new place, whatever, put in a new park. But if not, then the Optimist League step up, renegotiate that lease with TVA, and fundraise to run the park, to pay the electricity, to keep it up, and all.
Sure,
that
they're
stuff.
a private organization, they're a corporation. They can do that.
I mean, that seems legitimate to me, and I don't. I mean, when they set their mind to it, they raise the money to build it, and it's it's maintained. It's been there for a while.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It just seems reasonable. I understand the desire to have a new one, and again, I think most people in Claxton would agree to that. I just think the uncertainty. Let's not tear one down till we get a place to put the stuff. There's some of it I'm sure we could still maybe use. So, it feels like I can go all the way back to early 2000 in politics, where people assumed that South Clinton and Claxton kind of got overlooked a lot. And maybe they still feel that way. But, again, I just feel like if we find a place to move it to, I don't know that they would be opposed to the county running it. Or if we can't, let them keep it and help them accomplish whatever they need to with the weight of the government, but not be responsible or liable.
So Claxton's getting a brand new school.
True. That's true.
We just won a couple of grants for the Lost Bottom Park.
Okay.
Even on this, Ron, I mean, there's been active work with TVA to do something, even if that was a new community center. I mean, I think, what is the desire? I mean,
what's all the controversy?
I don't know. I mean, this was something that, people
are you guys
can go
repairing
on,
the slide and putting it back?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to Ben Taylor about.
So the Conservation Board is operating. They're doing whatever they're doing as they're supposed to do it.
Slides break.
Yeah.
They take them down. They have to order new ones. It's plastic. It can't be replaced.
Sure.
What's not beneficial is to go online and say, the mayor's tearing the mayor this, the mayor that. First of all, I don't have authority over the parks. There's been a situation before where there was an emergency, where under an emergency action, I said, hey, this needs to happen over, at the park to protect the county's liability. But I don't have authority. That is run by the Conservation Board. And, there were a lot of disparaging remarks, oh, yeah, here's who's on the park, Commissioner Palmer, where Commissioner Anderson was on the park. It was over the parks. He was the chairman of the parks when the decision was made. I'm not going to say it was a poor decision because it was Commissioner Anderson and he's running against me. I think they made a reasoned decision based on a multitude of factors. They invited Commissioner Wandell into the meeting, had that discussion with him.
What decision did they make? Did they come to?
To to relocate the park, to terminate that easement and demolish it and see if TVA. So the park board did not want the responsibility of doing any kind of demolition. In fact, I think part of their motion, I may have it here, they were wanting they didn't want the environmental liability of doing any kind of demo over there. That's why part of the motion was to see if TVA would do that.
Gotcha.
Because then TVA they've got knowledge of how to deal with all of that. If you're disturbing the land and any coal ash, TVA would have that ability.
So there are no orders from your office to tear down the Claxton Park.
I don't have that authority, Ron. I just don't.
Well, I know, but
authority.
you know that's what's being said out there. I've literally seen the mayor is tearing down the park.
Yes, it's not. That's not true.
Okay.
So it says discussion held on current status of Claxton Playground and its maintenance oversight by the Conservation Board and the Park Director. Motion by Lewis Rodner, second by Scott Burton, that effective December 1st, 2025, the Conservation Board and Park Director will no longer maintain nor be responsible for the playground structure and wooden pavilion, with a request for the Law Director to prepare a statement regarding the Conservation Board and Park Director having no role in the removal of the structures. Motion carried unanimously. Additional motion made by Lewis Rodner, seconded by Tony Powers, requesting the mayor to pursue and communicate with TVA for a proposed timeline on removal, decommission of the Claxton Bull Run site and potential new locations for a playground structure.
And when was that?
Motion carried. I don't have that
the date
was of the motion. So it had to be in 23 or 24 because in August, because then I had to reach out to TVA and was like, okay, I don't even know what the process is on this.
Sure.
And then that's when they said, Mayor, there's an easement and all of these things. And that's when I started tracking down the whole termination of the easement. And that went to commission in August of 24.
Let me get you on a record here. Will you go on the record and say we're not going to remove the park until or unless we have a place to put it?
Will I go on the record and say that?
Well, I mean, as far as what your authority is or is not with the county government, because you're being accused of tearing it down, and as you stand here or sit here with us today, you're saying, look, this is a concerted effort that happens with the Optimist Club, TVA, Anderson County government, the Conservation Board. Everybody's got their fingers in it, pointing at everybody else, and nobody's doing nothing, it seems like. But, I mean, can you say the county's not going to tear down this park just unilaterally without having another place to put it?
Well, I can't make that motion. I mean, I don't have that authority, Ron. These are, if you go watch the meeting in August of 24.
So this would be the Conservation Board.
There's a lot of, well, Mayor, that's not my authority. My job, you asked me to do work. I went and did the work.
The Conservation Board sent you to find an answer.
You all asked me to work on this. Even at that August meeting, they're like, well, Mayor, I'm like, you all need, I can't pick the place. It's your community. You need to say where are some, I can come up with some ideas, which I have. I even mentioned at one point, Lost Bottom.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wandale was like, I don't want it over there. And so that's why in August of 24, I said, I've asked TVA for some money for that one. But to be clear, that's not intended as a replacement for Claxton Park. It's not intended to be that. So, it's a lot of, I'm willing to work with people, Ron, but you have to be a straight shooter. You can't go out there and say the mayor has done all of these things when the record tells a different story.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get past the politics of it. That's where I'm going with you. That's why I'm saying all these interviews, because obviously we've politicized. And I said it before we got on the air, it's silly season. Here we go into it seems like every election we go into silly season. But that, with all that being said, without you having the authority to take it down, you also don't have the authority to relocate it. Let me ask you this. How do we come to having members of the Conservation Board? Who appoint, like with the Library Board? I know municipalities appoint, the commission appoints. Who appoints the Conservation Board? How do we come to that board?
The mayor does.
Okay. All of them?
Yes.
And how many are on there?
There are 5 on there.
Okay. So, okay, then that's where the politics are coming, because they're saying you appointed a board and they're going to do what you want to do. Is that where the colorful language is coming from?
I guess so, but just read that. This is from an August or this is a July 13th, 2023 article. Read the byline under Commissioner Wandell's picture.
Anderson County Commissioner Tracy Wandell would like to see Claxton's playground moved from its current location site next to the Bull Run steam plant. It shows him standing in front of the park, shows Tracy in front of the park. Both Mayor Frank, County Mayor, and Wandell have said the closure might provide an opportunity for TVA to help the community by moving the playground. So to me, I think the Bull Run closure represents a great opportunity to address the reality, which is there is a perception of risk, Mayor Frank said. I think it's just an opportunity to move it, the playground, somewhere else. As TVA continues to elevate its plans for what the plant's property and other pieces of land it owned in Claxton, Wandell hopes TVA would be open to helping the community helping the community with a new playground. Okay. And so now you're saying that Tracy's aggravated because you're moving the playground, or because you're looking to move the playground?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm saying this wasn't a unilateral conversation by the mayor.
Okay.
I mean, it was multiple.
Well, then why are you getting hammered with it? Then you think politics? That's all.
That's what I mean, why? I mean, it's just counterproductive. I don't understand. It's disingenuous. It's counterproductive. It's actually kind of mean when you know the story, when the history tells a different story.
Well, and I remember, again, Wimp was here working with us at the time, and Wimp was huge in that park down there. And so vis-a-vis with Wimp, we were involved in it. We were down there for the grand opening. We were down there. We helped raise money. We helped do a lot of stuff. I don't remember the county being involved in the early beginnings. You know what I mean? It was the Optimist Club. It was people. It was Spud. It was, a number of folks. Nobody patted the Anderson County government on the back when it was built. Everybody patted Optimist Club on the back when it was built.
My mom was did some kind of pitch in or a work day or something. I don't know if she.
There was a bunch of people went down there and did a lot of stuff from more than just Claxton.
Yes.
So I say that to say this. I don't know why it's. I guess because we gave it to the Conservation Board to handle, that's how it became the county's business. Can't you give it back?
So I think the law, if you look at it, the law at that time, I don't know what's still in place today, so the county went to say, we're going to take the park. And the state of Tennessee said, no, you actually have to apply. The Conservation Board will have to request permission under TCA, blah, blah, blah. I don't remember what that number was. And so the Conservation Board had to actually apply to the state to be able to do that.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't just a matter of the county mayor going, hey, we're going to run a park. It had to go through the proper channels with the Conservation Board requesting permission from the state of Tennessee.
Has TVA identified, helped, participated in any way, shape, form, or fashion in looking for a new place, or have they gotten involved in this yet to participate?
I don't think TVA I can't speak for them, but in my negotiations with them on funding for a like facility, they and I don't want to I really hate to use words because then people will say, well, the mayor said, TVA said. But I'll do it this way in order to prevent any kind of misquote. The feeling was they felt more like it's the community's decision where to put it, and we'll be a supporting partner. And I believe if
stroking a check.
So that's the $250,000. They're giving us $50,000 for Lost Bottom. Maybe we do find some place. Maybe there's another. They're willing to even do more.
Well, I ask if anybody's out there and you've got an idea for a location, property that's available. Please call. I'll be happy to pass it along to both the mayor and Tracy and the Optimist Club. Jasper's in and out of here all the time. We talk to these folks. So I know we're past time to get you gone. So thank you, Mayor Frank. We'll pick this back up at another time. I just wanted these two particular issues. I wanted to get your take on, and I know there's just people worried about losing the park, and I just wanted to get you on the record that you're not trying to close the park, if you're not, if you're wanting to build another, I just kind of want to know what do you see it going? I mean, you're the county mayor. What do you want to see out there?
What I would like to see would be a truly inclusive conversation with the community about what they would like to see. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have a donation of $250,000 that could get something really good started. It could definitely do a structure, but if you want more than that, it could get something started. You have a new Aspire Park. You got South Clinton Inclusive Playground. Mm-hmm. You've got Oak Ridge Greenways that are all right there. We've got some stuff happening at Lost Bottom. We got some more Blue Way stuff that'll be happening at Gibbs Ferry. What gap exists that the people of Claxton and that community would want to make it a draw for other people? I mean, I think you want to do something this is just my thinking. You want something that's maybe filling a gap so that you draw people from outside of your community, and maybe your shops in Claxton can pick up some extra dollars and you get some extra sales tax and all of those things. But maybe they want something that's exactly the same as, maybe.
Have you thought about having a community meeting? I hearken back to when Clinton was wanting to do, in fact, some of the things that they set out in 2007, 8, and 9 to do are happening right now on Market Street.
Yeah.
Long time. But I remember the city had open meetings down at the community center with ideas that they had and listened to the public's ideas of what they wanted before they formulated the final plans of the walking trails and the stuff that's happening on Market Street right now. They got some community input with, these open meetings. Have you thought about doing something like that maybe, and having an open meeting for the folks in Claxton to come and just maybe share what they'd like? Or like I said, even if they got an idea where to put it, they've got some land available, maybe suggest and, participate.
Well, the Conservation Board has definitely mentioned that. And I even, emailed that to both of the commissioners. And this has been a few months ago or a couple months ago. I don't remember the exact timeline, but yeah, I think that's a good idea, Ron.
I'm getting ahead of my skis here, and I'm going to let you go. But real quick, when a commissioner moves and they have to be replaced, how does that happen? Does the commission choose the replacement?
The commission chooses the replacement, so they're running an ad. I think that has to go out. I'm sure they're going to send it out right now. They'll take applications, but I think that you can still take nominations from the floor.
Okay.
So, but they'll take applications and then commission will vote on that. And typically they'll do it typically by ballot. It has to have your name on it, and they read out who the votes are. And then the lowest vote getter, if there's multiple candidates, would be eliminated, and then they would just continue to do a runoff.
I said that only to say that it might be a good idea once that's established.
Yes.
That those two commissioners get with the Conservation Board and maybe put together some kind of community meeting and just let you, the Conservation Board, and elected officials hear what the community wants. And like I said, maybe somebody's got some land they'll sell or donate or whatever to put it in. I don't know. Just seems like there's a solution out there, and we're making a whole lot more problem out of something that maybe, again, that's why I ask you up here just to get your thoughts, because people seem to be assigning your thoughts to you and what you plan to do. And I just find it easier just to ask you forthright, you tearing down the park? No.
Yeah.
No, you're not. So, all right. Mayor Frank, thank you. I'm sorry I held you over. Guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let the mayor go. 20 minutes late, but we are definitely trying to keep on time. Good morning.
Need a waste solution that's as flexible as you are? Look no further than Coker Waste Solutions. Whether it's a small home project or a major construction site, we've got you covered with our 15, 20, 30, and 40-yard containers. Enjoy flexible rental periods, plus convenient pickup and delivery. We're committed to making waste management hassle-free. Visit cokerwaste.com or call 865-320-0018. Coker Waste Solutions, located at 2305 Clinton Highway in Powell, across from Claxton Elementary School. cokerwaste.com.
My first mistake wasn't running out of cash. It wasn't even maxing out my credit card. My first mistake was not knowing Shylock's Pawn Shop was just around the corner.
Life throws curveballs, but that doesn't mean you're out of options. Shylock's Pawn Shop offers fast cash loans, retail sales, and more. When you need a helping hand, we're here for you. Visit us at 1204 Clinch Avenue, Clinton, or online at ShylockSpawn.com. Remember, Shylock's has cash for you.
Help is just around the corner. Remember, Shylock's has cash for you.
Thank you for listening to AM 1380 WYSH and Ask Your Neighbor. Make sure you tune in at 10 a.m. each day, Monday through Friday, right here on AM 1380 WYSH and BBB TV 12. Or listen live online at WYSHradio.com. And remember, if you have a question, comment, or problem,
Sheriff will be here tomorrow
and ask your neighbor. Or email from